From being a privately owned house to being one of the biggest and most fascinating tourist attractions one can ever witness, Biltmore Estate has seen it all. It is truly on the top of America's biggest ever mansions list. The estate has been used not just for the owners to have their legacy move further, but also on numerous occasions as a filming location for film and television, and for the world to witness what unique masterpiece Biltmore Estate exists to be. Stay with us till the end of the video to know the mansion inside and out. If you're looking to vacation somewhere anytime soon, our suggestion to you will always be to leave everything behind, pack a backpack, and go roam around in Biltmore's luscious corridors, and dine in its historical lounges. And while you do end up going there, today's video will help you comprehend the entire mansion a lot more easily. To begin with, let's talk about the basics of the mansion. That will help you understand the exterior as well as its interior a lot better. The main residence, known as Biltmore House, or as we know it, the Biltmore Mansion, is a chateau-style mansion built for George Washington Vanderbilt II between 1889 and 1895. With 178,926 square feet in floor space, it is the biggest privately held home in the United States, at 135,280 square feet of living area. It is still one of the most notable examples of Gilded Age palaces and is still held by George Vanderbilt's family. But where does the mansion actually stand with respect to its historical context? Well, at the height of the Gilded Age in the 1880s, George Washington Vanderbilt II started to visit the Asheville region frequently with his mother, Maria Louisa Kissam Vanderbilt. He chose to construct a summer home there, which he dubbed his Little Mountain Retreat, for he loved the area's scenery and climate so very much. In locations like Hyde Park, New York, the Gold Coast of Long Island, and Newport, Rhode Island, his older siblings had constructed opulent summer residences. Vanderbilt combined the Biltmore, the Netherlands-based origin of his forefathers, with more as Mr., the Anglo-Saxon word for more, a wide open area of land, to give his estate the name Biltmore, and developed quite an emotional attachment with the place. So then how did this gigantic piece of architecture come into being? Surely it wasn't an easy job, as the size of it says it all about the kind of horsepower it might have required to construct it all in a single stature. Additionally, nearly 700 pieces of land were purchased by Vanderbilt, including more than 50 farms, at least 5 cemeteries, and part of the Shiloh town. The house's construction got underway in 1889. A brick kiln that could produce 32,000 bricks per day and a woodworking shop were constructed on-site to support such a huge undertaking. As for the transportation of the supplies to the construction site, a 3-mile railroad offshoot was built. About 1,000 laborers and 60 stonemasons were needed to complete the main house's construction. Vanderbilt traveled widely abroad to buy furnishings during its construction. On Christmas Eve in 1895, George Vanderbilt welcomed relatives and friends from all over the nation to his sumptuous estate and urged them to partake in leisurely activities and rural hobbies. Construction of the Gilded Age home reportedly cost $5 million, or $150 million in today's amount. Authors Edith Wharton and Henry James, diplomats Joseph Hodges Choate and Lars Anderson, and U.S. presidents have all visited the house over the years, and you could be the next. Who knows? When George Vanderbilt opened Biltmore House in 1895, despite having been under construction for 6 years, it was still not finished. The home is made of more than 11 million bricks, and the enormous stone spiral staircase has 102 steps and rises 4 levels, which gives you the perfect chance to punch in some cardio while you're at it. Similarly, a 72-bulb iron chandelier suspended from a single point hangs through the center of the structure. So how does the technicalities of the mansion go by? Let's break it down as per the floors present at the Biltmore Mansion. The ground floor is basically a welcoming area for people when they walk in. There seems to be a huge living room with chairs and comfortable seating in all 4 corners. In addition to the opulent suites on the upper levels, there are also spaces where guests used to enjoy afternoon tea and play games in the parlor. The observatory and maid's bedrooms are located on the 4th floor, which also offers stunning views of the front of the house. Back in the days, a modern domestic nerve center with a main kitchen, 2 specialist kitchens, a big laundry complex, refrigeration systems, and pantries helped the domestic servants keep the entire house working smoothly downstairs. At the time of its construction, Biltmore House was regarded as one of the most technologically advanced buildings ever created, and is still respected today for its creative engineering. It is entirely electric and centrally heated. It had 2 elevators, complex indoor plumbing for all 34 bedrooms, some of Thomas Edison's earliest light bulbs, a fire alarm system, an electrical call box system for staff, and a telephone, which was still a relatively novel device at the time. So why have you still not moved in? That's our question. A gym, indoor pool, and bowling alley are all positioned below, as Vanderbilt also intended this mountain house to offer family and friends leisurely activities during their stay. And the landscape? Well, the centerpiece of the estate is Biltmore House. When standing on the library terrace and looking down into the gardens, it is obvious that Olmsted's genius is a crucial component of Biltmore. His expansive landscape serves as an appropriate backdrop for this majestic manor. Mountain laurel, rhododendron, native azaleas, and white pines coexist alongside rare Franklinia and Persian ironwood trees. Each spring, 50,000 tulips are planted in a 4-acre walled garden, which also has an all-American rose garden, summer annuals in the warmer months, and chrysanthemums in the fall. Because of the special horticultural conditions at Biltmore, the blooming season lasts from early spring until the first frost, or from March through November. Something even then is in bloom there. Not to forget, the conservatory is brimming with vibrant tropical plants like poinsettias, orchids, lilies, cactus, and bougainvillea, even in the dead of winter. Why does this all sound like a dream? While Vanderbilt built this country getaway where he could indulge his interests in horticulture, reading, and the arts, George and Edith Stuyvesant Dresser, an American who lived in Paris from 1873 to 1958, during the summer of 1898, settled at the home. They gave birth and raised their only child, Cornelia, starting in 1900 to 1976 at Biltmore. Biltmore House has remained the focal point of Vanderbilt's legacy, despite the fact that the unparalleled beauty of Biltmore Estate is the result of the joint creative talents and vision of all 3 men, Vanderbilt, Hunt, and Olmsted. This magnificent house, a National Historic Landmark, is still the biggest private property in America. Today, the estimated value of the Biltmore Estate is a total of $37 million, comprising 135,000 square foot area. In addition to that, with 2,194 acres, the house, hotels, restaurants, and other buildings, the portion of the estate that is accessible to the general public is worth more than $300 million. Is it just us, or is that a really crazy amount? But who is that fortunate one to own the Biltmore Mansion in today's world? The family is still the estate's owner. Bill Cecil Jr., a great-grandson of George Vanderbilt, currently serves as the CEO of the Biltmore Company. The majority of Biltmore's remarkable expansion was the result of his father's efforts, along with those of William Amherst Vanderbilt Cecil, George Vanderbilt's grandson. On October 31, 2017, unfortunately he passed away. Only a few weeks later, Mimi, his wife, passed away suddenly too. Cecil wed Mary Mimi Ryan, an attorney with a Wall Street firm, in 1957. They relocated to Asheville from New York in 1960 to concentrate on protecting Biltmore by incorporating tourism. When compared to the mid-1970s, when there were only 100 employees at Biltmore, there were 2,400 in 2017. Biltmore is all about adjectives like warmth and home, inviting and celebrating family and friends, and expanding the Biltmore spirit beyond its 8,000 acres, just as was originally intended by Vanderbilt himself. It still holds true now as it did in 1895, and we cannot gush over its mystifying beauty enough. While you try and process the extravagance of the Biltmore Mansion, we would like to say farewell. But before you leave, we would really like to know your thoughts on the mansion itself. Would you ever visit the overwhelming architecture in person? Don't forget to like this video, while also subscribing to receive more content in the future.